So today I have a banger episode for you guys. I'm going to be talking about Stoicism. I'm going to be talking about what it is, how it can serve you, how it can help you, and the toxic side of it, how it can actually be bad for you, how it can hurt you in many ways. It's something that I think about personally a lot in my life. The idea of Stoicism, there have been many periods in my life where I've tried to be stoic and I've tried to kind of internalize that in myself. I've not really been too successful, but it's worth talking about. I've been kind of teasing this episode for a little bit now. Now I'm actually finally going to give you the deep dive analysis as to what it is and how it can help you in your life. And I hope it's interesting. I hope it serves you in some way. So that's going to be the goal for this episode, to serve you, to give you some good information that can potentially help you in some way do better in your life. That's what I'm going to try to do in this episode and on this show. So welcome back to the show, 365 Podcast. My name is Matthew. Let's get right into the episode. I make a podcast episode every single day for 365 days. You will be hated for speaking the truth.
You definitely have like an X-ray goggles on where you can see someone's aura.
A house divided against itself shall not stand. Matthew chapter 12, verse 25.
If you want to make something of yourself, forget your political beliefs.
Because different believers experience God in different ways, different non-believers need different explanations to see God as real. Things that make you angry suck you in.
Satan's plan fails, right? And God's plan prevails.
So I'm going to read the official definition of Stoicism right now. Stoicism is an ancient Greek and Roman philosophy that teaches cultivating personal virtue, wisdom, and resilience by focusing only on what is within our control, our thoughts and reactions, while accepting external events with equanimity. So this is the Google definition, and I mean, what does that mean, right? I mean, that's a lot. That to me feels like that's just a big blob of words just kind of scrambled together. Sometimes Google nails definitions right on the head. This time, we need a little bit of a deeper dive as to what it actually is. So yes, it's a very ancient tradition. It's very old, right? It's as old as basically around the time of the Bible. It might be a little bit older than like the New Testament, basically like older than AD, basically, older than the year 0. I think, I don't know the exact days of when it was founded, but essentially it is the idea of emotional self-control. When there are things that happen to you that are outside of your control, you don't let that anger you. You don't internalize it. You stay stoic, which is basically like equanimity. Like another word to say equanimity is like just indifferent. Like it's like equilibrium, right? It's indifferent to the situation. You're not mad. You're not like too negative or you're too positive about something. And it's being able to control your emotions, regulating your emotions, because that allows you to. Because in some way it will allow you to gain, virtue, wisdom, and resilience to life's situations by not reacting to it, not letting emotions take control, instead focusing solely on the logical perspective of things. So that's really what it is. The main point is emotional self-control, self-regulation, not reacting when things happen to you. Because things will happen to you in your life. There will be circumstances that make you mad. Not reacting to it, right? Like, rather than reacting in tough situations, being indifferent. You're probably always going to feel the feeling. Like, the feeling will probably always be there. But what Stoicism is you don't let it manifest itself. You don't let it leave your internal conscience. You stay indifferent, you stay stoic, and you let that feeling pass through you instead of clinging on to it and reacting to it, right? Obviously, the biggest example is like anger, resentment, like just deep rage for some situation, or even pride in some cases can kind of be that thing. It's like when a bad circumstance happens, you want to cling to being mad at someone, blaming someone for something. You want to cling to self-righteousness, thinking that you're in the right and they're definitely in the wrong and this is such a bad situation. Stoicism is basically to say you don't cling to any of those things. You let them pass you by. The feelings will always be there, but you let them pass you by, and that will allow you to distance yourself from the emotion, to then come to a logical conclusion, focus on only what you can control, and make the necessary improvements to do better in your life. And it does have a very, very big relation to the Christian teaching, because this is essentially the aspect of most of the Christian teaching, that you will feel the feelings that will lead you into sin, but it's basically to resist them. And obviously what God calls us to do is to pray on it and to give it to God, and through knowing what things you need to do, what strategies you can do to resist temptation, to overcome those temptations, giving it to God. It's the same kind of principle in the sense that you're going to feel the feelings, But it's about just letting them pass through you, not letting them manifest itself, not letting you falling into a worse version of sin and a worse version of just anger or pride or whatever the thing may be. And if you're able to have emotional self-control, it means that you're actually like obeying God and what he wants you to do. You're rejecting the kind of internal evils that live within you and clinging to the good. But it's harder to cling to the good. That's the whole point. That's why it's a relationship with God, because it takes a lot more out of us. Stoicism is kind of functions in the same way. And there's actually like a very interesting interaction that happened with Paul when he went to Athens. It says specifically in the Bible that he like interacted with the Stoics. And it was a very interesting thing where it's like the Stoics were actually like the Stoic people of Greek society were actually like willing to hear him out, right? When it came to him preaching the word of Jesus Christ, because that's kind of what Stoicism is, right? Is the fact that like you're willing to hear different perspectives, you're open to things, and you don't let anything phase you. Basically, it's like they had their beliefs of their Greek gods or whatever. Paul came in with the thing. They didn't rebuke him. They didn't stone him like a lot of other societies did. They didn't chastise him for it. They just looked at him, they internalized it, and they made they had some thinking, they made some logical perspectives, and they came to whatever conclusion they came to. It wasn't specifically stated, but I think like that's also a very good example of like how Stoicism and like kind of biblical principles do relate in a certain way. Obviously there is distinct differences, but they do have a certain relation in the sense that it is about emotional self-control. It is the fact that yes, you'll feel the feeling, there will be these things that live within you, but it is to not let them affect you, only control what you can control, and that will allow you to reap the rewards, which the rewards are, as it's in the definition, personal virtue, wisdom, and resilience, and I'm sure with many other perspectives as well. It's just gaining new perspectives on things as well. And it just helps you like not make bad situations worse as well. Like a situation can be bad, a situation can hurt you, you can feel the feelings of anger or sadness or whatever. But if you internalize those feelings, you lean into them too much, it will just make you kind of crumble, right? Whereas if you just let them pass you by, right, it's just blowing in the wind, right? Your emotions are blowing in the wind. That's pretty much the essence of the Stoic teaching. They're just blowing in the wind, they come and go, and you don't let emotion control you, you don't grasp it. Instead, you look at something from a logical perspective. So it relates to Christian teaching in this way, but it is also distinct in like the fact that it is like it is a different teaching. But at the end of it all, the point of doing it is because it allows you to get through situations better, navigate tough times in a better way, be able to cope with bad things in a better way, and only be able to be wise, be prudent, and be able to focus on yourself, what you can control, rather than being so drawn into your circumstances, so drawn into other people, what they're doing. Like, I think I need a little bit of stoicism. Again, as I said in the intro, like I had moments in my life where I was thinking a lot about stoicism, but obviously it's easier said than done. But I feel like, especially the points in my life where my emotions are kind of all over the place right now. Like I've had some very, very down days, very, very bad days, very, very depressing moments. I think a level of stoicism, letting emotions pass you by like that, is probably something that is pretty helpful. It would be helpful if I were to lean into those things a little more. So maybe that's something for me to think about. But, there's reasons why it can get bad. And there's reasons why it's imperfect in its ways. So that's what I'm going to be talking about for this portion of the video. There is a problem with stoicism. There is a big issue with a lot of the way it works. You're taking a big risk. You can fall into this type of reverse stoicism where all of a sudden, you actually are weak, and in your tough moments you are not stoic. You allow your emotions to take control of you. You get angry, you let that rage kindle, you let that fire kindle, and it hurts you, it hurts the people around you. But then your stoicism only shows up in the good moments. Like when you have victories, when you have good days, it's in those moments that you're like, okay, no, we don't want to overreact, we have to be stoic in it all. And then what you're ending up doing is you're just being miserable, because you're not actually enjoying the wins. You're not enjoying the good moments. Instead, you're being stoic when it's actually better for you to let loose a little bit and actually like take pride and joy in a good moment that happened to you. But in the bad moments, you're actually weak and you can't use Stoicism in the way it's intended. So that is a very big toxic thing when it comes to Stoicism. When things are tough, you actually don't have the control to let those bad emotions pass you by. But when you have good times, because you have a little bit more control, because it's easy when things are good, you then put the principle into practice, but you're putting it into practice in the wrong places, because then you're just permanently miserable. You're not letting yourself loose, and you're not letting yourself enjoy the good moments. And then the bad moments are even more heightened because you don't have the strength to overcome them and to be stoic in those moments. So that is this type of like reverse stoicism that plagues so many people. And that's where it can get really toxic. Because my teaching, my message is you have to enjoy the good moments. Because in life there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of tough things that will happen. Sometimes good moments are few and far between. But the more you can prioritize gratitude, prioritize appreciation for things, for your life, for the gifts, and always look at the positives and the good things, and like internalize your wins, celebrate your victories, that will allow you to extract more enjoyment out of life and be more at peace with your days, and hopefully will help you when it comes to tackling the bad moments in an even better way. But yeah, like stoicism can become like that, where it's tough. Like it really is easy to forget how hard it can be. Like theory versus practice, it is easier said than done, right? So the emotion of anger can be something that just completely just fills you up for days. I know, because this is me, like this is my life. I've had those experiences where the emotion of anger just fills you up and all you're thinking about is like the situation that made you mad or the people that made you mad or whatever it was. And it can just plague you, right? And then it's just, you're just wasting your time. So you're just miserable. You're in this angry state. And then when when you have the chance to celebrate something good, you kind of overthink and you're like, no, let's not overreact. Like, let's be stoic here. You want to be stoic in the good times, but when the bad times happen, you crumble because the emotions are too much to handle sometimes. That's not what Stoicism kind of talks about, but unfortunately, it's kind of downstream from the actual teaching that, yes, you just want to be emotionally indifferent. That's the point. You want to be emotionally indifferent, and it applies to everything. But when you're going through tough times in your life and you're unable to deal with those tough times, you shouldn't be like looking at a good moment and just letting it pass you by and just forgetting about it, pretending like it's not that big of a deal, whatever it may be, not overreacting, right? Whatever your excuse may be. You have to celebrate your wins, because it is in those celebrations, it is in those good moments that you get life's best value in. It's where you find life's greatest joy, in those moments. And if you fall into the stoic trap of being stoic in the good moments but being unable to control your emotions in the bad moments, you're just permanently miserable. You're not allowing yourself to reap the joy, and you're just kind of in a state of always just misery. Where stoicism needs to be implemented is when you're going through the tough times. So, take a deep breath, let those emotions pass you by, and be logic instead of emotional. But in the good moments, you should always reap the rewards for the good moments and celebrate the good moments. Whatever celebrating may be for you, right? And like that's a big problem, right? That's a big issue with the Stoic teaching, is that you can fall into that pattern of kind of rationalizing Stoicism, but like actually you just end up making yourself even more miserable. Like where it's supposed to be implemented is in the bad moments, in those things that you can't control that affected you in a bad way, to not let them affect you. That is really like the most important point of Stoicism. But because that's how the teaching is, and that's the way we kind of are as humans, so many of us make the mistake of not being able to do well in bad situations, but in the good situations we don't even want to let ourselves loose, because whatever, like you don't overthink it, you don't overdo it, you don't want the pressure to be too much, right? Maybe you feel guilty when you celebrate a victory because you're trying to work hard and you have this, insecure overachiever mindset. I've talked about that on this show as well in more detail. But the point is, like you're not gonna like it's not gonna make anything better, right? It's really gonna make your life worse. It's gonna make your experiences worse if you kind of take a reverse stoicism thing, and it never ever happens intentionally, right? It just kind of is something that you do. Like if you're trying to be stoic, so like you're trying to be indifferent to everything. You're trying to be emotionally controlled. So in your good moments, you don't do anything, and in your bad moments, you don't do anything. But the problem is, in your bad moments, you will fall into anger, whatever the bad feeling is, because those emotions are much stronger than the emotions in the good. But I think a big difference between Stoicism and the Christian teaching, obviously there is there are many similarities. The big difference is like the Christian teaching emphasizes like the joy, the peace, the love that exists, being thankful to God for your great gifts, because that also helps you be in a better state. Being grateful to God, giving worship to him in this way, rejoicing in the great gifts of your life. It allows you to be in a better state, in a better mindset to worship God, to do his will. And of course to fight the evil emotions that live within you. Whereas Stoicism, there is like this implied like you shouldn't even enjoy the good. Don't enjoy the good, but also don't like hate the bad, and you'll fall somewhere in the middle, and this emotional indifference will help you just kind of move forward in your life and get through it, right? But we need joy. We need love to keep going, right? Like we need joy. If your life is just miserable all the time, like, you then start to ask like, what's the point of you even living, right? Because it feels like it's all pain, right? So you need as much joy as possible. And sometimes you can fall into the stoicism trap, which is like taking away the joy because you're trying to be stoic, not overreacting. But then in the bad moments, you're still unable to control those emotions, right? So we all fall into these things, right? And it's like, it's perfectly fine. Like, I don't judge you for it, but hopefully me bringing this to your attention can help you at least appreciate the good things, be thankful for the good things, and allow those positive things to have a better impact on your life, to make you more happy, more joyful in your days, rather than kind of letting the negative things take you over, right? But as I kind of have been saying, it is always easier said than done. That's why it is theory versus practice. It's like, it's a theory, but how many people actually are able to, in like the toughest situation, the worst moments, the worst traumas, just like let it pass you by, sit there with calm and tranquility, not letting it affect you? Very rare, because we're emotional creatures. It's natural. If you're able to get to that point where you can do that, you're basically like at another level of enlightenment, really, because you've basically transcended life. If you're able to get to that point, we all make mistakes. We're not perfect, right? So in moments of bad times, we will fall into those negative feelings. So it is always easier in theory than in practice. But it is the fact that the knowledge of the theory existing can serve you in some way, because it at least knows there's a way to fight those bad emotions, to not let things get exponentially worse in bad situations, bad seasons, and be able to be thankful in good seasons. Sometimes stoicism falls short in that regard, but I think you have to enjoy your wins. You have to celebrate the good things, because that's what you got in life, is the good, is the joy, and that's what makes life worth living. That's what makes it fulfilling. Those tough moments, those grindy days, those bad situations, those things that make you angry, sometimes it just feels overwhelming, right? It's in the good, it's in the joy that you'll find life. And sometimes stoicism, if you kind of too deep into it, will take that away from you. So don't let that happen. Celebrate your wins, celebrate your victories, and make those good things happen, and make as many good things happen as you can, and try your best to not let bad situations get worse, get so out of hand. Right? When it matters most, you're weak, but you stop yourself from experiencing the joy. Right? That can be the real trap of stoicism. So I warn you, right? Stoicism, there's some good things to it. There's something very important to be when, like you gotta be stoic, right? Like, just, if you have like the mantra, and your mantra is just to be stoic, right? Be positive, but stoic. That was actually like, that was a thing that was in my like 15 tenets of life or whatever. This concept I had for myself personally: positive, but stoic. I think that's a good thing, because just being stoic, it can apply to everything, and then you're just miserable. But you want to have as much joy as possible in life. You do not want to take that away from yourself, deprive yourself of that, because you think that being stoic, even in the good moments, is the right way. Unfortunately, it just probably is not, right? It probably hurts you more than it helps. So be stoic in the tough times, but always rejoice in the good times, and always lean into the positive, into the good times as much as you can, because it will help you get through the bad times as well. So in conclusion, that's it. Like, that is what I gotta say, is stoicism helps. It's very helpful, because if you're able to control your emotions, you'll be able to live a better life. You'll be able to understand the world better, and have more wisdom, truly, and be more content within yourself. And you'll be obviously not feeling that anger, that sadness, that pride will always make you just feel better and live your days in a better way. But never deprive yourself of the joy because of the excuse that, oh, you have to be stoic, you have to just not let yourself overreact. No, you should lean as far into the good moments, into the joy, into the wins, into the celebration as you can to truly get as much enjoyment out of life as possible. In life, there'll be tough times. That's just the truth. There'll be tough seasons. There'll be tough moments. There'll be times where you feel overwhelmed, where you feel like you're just clinging on and you can't pull yourself up. You can't get yourself out of water. You feel like you're drowning and you can't get up, right? You can't really tread water. You're just barely keeping your head above water, right? It's in those moments that you have to let the emotions pass you by, rationalize the fact that these times will be over one day and you'll be able to eventually get to the good times once the bad times are over. But in the good times, you got to enjoy them, right? You got to enjoy them while they're here because the good times might not be here forever, right? There will always be tough times in life. How you react to them is really the main point of Stoicism. It's how you react to them, and that's what will determine your destiny. It will determine where you're going to be going in the future, right? If you react to the negative so bad, then, well, like, it's always going to be like that. Like, you have to start making some level of change, and Stoicism can be a piece of the puzzle in that regard. But it really can't be everything. Right? It cannot be everything because it can make it too far and it can become this toxic reverse stoicism type of thing where you end up depriving the one thing or the few things that give you joy from yourself in kind of the pursuit of being emotionally regulated. But it all just doesn't work out in the end. It all just leaves you to be miserable. So that is my main message, and I'm trying to emphasize that point. To focus on the joy, and the tough moments will always be there, so hopefully you can learn to slowly not be so emotional, rationalize things rather than emotionally react to things. And that will help you do better. It will help you in one way, but there are many other pieces to the puzzle. It's not the be all end all. Like, Stoicism shouldn't be the only way you go about your life. There are many other important teachings to learn, no less than the word of the Holy Gospels and the Holy Bible and what God tells us. No more than that. No less than no more important than that, right? But the point is, it's like there's definitely something important you can take from it, but just be careful when it comes to Stoicism, when it comes to these teachings, when it comes to just trying to be stoic in everything. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. You're going to fail, you're going to fall, you're not going to be perfect. That's life, right? Just get up off your knees, shake the dust off, and keep going, right? And you will make it through those tough moments. You will make it through those difficult times. And that's all you really can do. Keep striving, and the better your life will be, the more fulfilling, right? The more fulfilling your days will be, the better, right? And we all want to live a good life. So do everything you can to try and make that happen. So that's all I got to say for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope that this was an insightful video for you, that you can learn to appreciate the good times more instead of always trying to focus on the bad times. And yeah, that is really my analysis on Stoicism. That is my take on like the whole toxic Stoicism type of thing. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And I hope this helped you in some way, that I served you in the best way I possibly could have today. That's what I tried to do. If you did, if you enjoyed it, let me know. Show your support in every way that you can. Like the video and subscribe on YouTube and follow the show on Spotify. I really do appreciate you for being here. I really do appreciate you for watching this episode. I've made so many other great episodes on this show already. We're approaching episode 200 of the show. I'm going to be making sure to make it as good of an episode as possible. So stay tuned for that. But that's all I got to say for today. Thank you for watching this episode of the 365 podcast. And as I end this episode, as I end every single episode, I will end this episode in the same way by saying that I will see you tomorrow for the next one.